What's up everybody, Alex here, and welcome to this Dota Underlords build guide for Season 1. This build is the Vigilant Hunters and Heartless build, and is one of the best builds in the current meta. What you see here is the completed build with the two absolutely mandatory required items. Now, this build has a lot of nuance to it. It is one of the absolute best builds to finish the game off. It is, once you get this going, first and second is a very real possibility. There are very few builds that can counter this effectively, but the mid game is certainly tricky. So this guide is going to step you step by step through what you need to know to be successful with this build. Now, let's get started with what you need to do in the opening rounds. In the early game, this is what your board will look like. You'll have Pudge here in the most vulnerable position because he's your primary tank. He has a massive amount of health, and he's going to be the primary person tanking as much damage as he can. Beside him, you have Train Protector. His Leech Seed will help keep the Pudge and the Magnus up with its AoE healing effect. You have the Drow Ranger, who contributes to basically all the alliances you need in this game, so Train Protector is extremely important as well. You're running Damage Support and Essex because Enthrall is one of your primary win conditions here because of the negative armor applied and because End of Medicine increases your attack damage. An Essex is key here. If you can't get an Essex, all-out attack NO is good as well. You're also going Wind Ranger, a tier 2 unit who contributes to your Hunter and your Vigilant alliances as well. If you don't get Magnus, the Nature's Prophet is a good sub-in as well. You'd put them in this position. The reason for this is because you want to take advantage of your Druid bonus. Your Druid bonus helps round out the early game by giving you that free star. It really helps to reduce your incoming damage and helps you to win a few early rounds. It's key that you keep your health total up, because most of this build revolves around you being able to either win streak or maintain your health in order to level up. You need to level with this build. It's one of the primary things that you need to do. Now, on the bench here, what I have Abaddon, Lifestealer, and Luna. These are three units that'll come into play in the mid game. However, they're not necessarily going to have a major role at this point. So it's very important that when you see them, you grab them, because they're going to have a major role to play. So stock them when you can, because moving into the mid game, which we're doing now, you're gonna need them. The mid game of this build is absolutely crucial, and it's important that you maintain the best board presence you can by being responsive to RNG and making conscious decisions as to which units need to be in play. Let me make a few examples. This is what your build is likely to look like in your mid game. You've got 7 units, you've not completed several alliance synergies, but you have a few of the key ones in play. You have the first tier of Heartless and you're 1 away from tier 2. You've not completed your Hunters yet, they're kind of the finishers of this build. You're still running your Druids to maintain your strength, and you have your Knights and your 3 Vigilant. Now, there's a few options here. Let's say you're in a situation where you have a Magnus at 1 star, so he's always taking the 2nd star. Now, if Magnus is at 2 stars, you're going to have a free 3 star on your hand, so it's going to be a little harder to make a choice to take out the Druids. However, if you want to get the Heartless and the Brute bonus, you're going to take out the Magnus, you're going to leave Train Protector by himself, and you're going to add the Lifestealer. Okay, this is going to give you the Heartless and the Brute bonus, and Lifestealer is an absolutely fantastic unit. Now, if you're in a situation where you have Magnus, but say, you're pretty good on the board and you want to, amplify your attack damage, you're going to add Terrorblade instead. Now, Terrorblade is going to be a temporary solution, so you don't want to invest too much in him. Getting him to 2 stars is not a problem, but he's going to get you your Hunter bonus. But bear in mind, you've still now sacrificed your Druid bonus, your Brute bonus, and your Heartless bonus. He's an option, but probably not the best. What I would suggest that you do if you're in a situation where you need to make a difficult decision at level 7, what I would do is actually take Luna out. If you take Luna out, especially if she does not have a Mask of Madness, you can do this, shift your lineup a little bit, and add Lifestealer. The result of this is you have your 4 Heartless, your Druid, and your Brutes, and you still have 2 Vigilant. Now, it's not ideal, you still need to level up, but if you have a Mask of Madness, Lifestealer works well with Mask of Madness as well. So it might be a situation where if you have a 2-star Luna and a 1-star Lifestealer, you keep Luna in. You have to be very responsive to what your team and RNG is giving you. At the end of the day, moving into the late game, you're going to have your final set build, but the mid game is all about maximizing the alliance synergies and being responsive to RNG. In the late game, this is what the build will look like. You have Mirana coming in for Terrorblade and Lone Druid coming in for Magnus or Nature's Prophet. This is the completed build, and this is why it is so important that you get to level 9, because look at our alliance synergies. They are now complete. We got the completed build that we're looking for. Now, there's a few key things you need to remember. First of all, those tanks need to be up front in this position. Pudge on the most vulnerable edge here because he's the tankiest of them all. Train Protector in the middle to do his healing. Now, there's a few other considerations as well. You don't want Lifestealer up front. The reason for this is because you don't want him to be focus fired. You want him to get late to the fight so he's not the primary source of tanking. You want him to be one of the last units to go down because he will carry a fight near the end with his Feast ability and his Moon Shard. Now, these rear 3 units are very important, and let me explain the way they're positioned. Now, if you are not against assassins or spirits and having no one blink dagger or jump in the back here, it is very safe to put a Nesix on this rear line here. Now, if you're against assassins or you're against spirits with ember spirits or blink daggers or anything along those lines, you do not want a Nesix dying, because if she dies, your win condition and Enthrall is lost. Enthrall is absolutely required for this build to be successful. So what I often find myself doing is sacrificing Drow Ranger's attack speed bonus on Wind Ranger and actually flipping the two like this. Yes, Wind Ranger is not going to have the Drow Ranger bonus. However, a Nesix is now safe because a Nesix is going to spawn her little archer here. It's going to protect Mirana and Wind Ranger. Now, if you're against Pudges, you're actually going to swap Mirana and Wind Ranger. The reason for this, because if Mirana gets pulled, she's going to actually just going to activate her jump, and she's going to jump to safety, okay? So Mirana's perfect bait for a Pudge, but at the end of the day, you want to make sure an Essex is safe. If you are convinced an Essex is safe, it is best to have Wind Ranger in range of the Drow Ranger's aura, okay? So it's very important that we understand that. With regards to items, there are a few key items that really play a role in this. Now, minor. Shiva's Guard. It's a great item to have on Pudge. His 3-cell radius there to activate Shiva's Guard is perfect in his positioning, and the 10 armor is very beneficial to his effective HP. You're going to cast Shiva's Guard in this general area here. It's perfect for Pudge. Refresher Orbs are great primarily on the Lone Druid. You're going to have multiple Spirit Bears out there. If you don't have a Lone Druid for whatever reason, like you decide to run a 3-star Magnus or Natures or whatever it is, a Refresher Orb works well on Abaddon as well. That shield can be cast on many units. The AoE damage is substantial. It's a great item to have on Abaddon as well. Now, Yule's Scepter is fantastic on Mirana. What it does is it increases her survivability. She is often the absolute last unit on your team to go down, and a Yule's Scepter is just going to create a situation where she's near impossible to kill. It's really going to amplify her ability to do damage, and it might just win you the game. Honestly, it's incredible. Maelstrom is great on Wind Ranger because of her fast attack speed. It goes well on Mirana as well. Excellent on Hunters, a fantastic hunter item. So Maelstrom is a great option at tier 3. Now, Mask of Madness is absolutely mandatory for both Lifestealer and for Luna. It makes them both incredible carries, an automatic pick if you see Mask of Madness. With Lifestealer, ideally you want Moon Shard because of his Feast ability, which heals him for percentage-based damage of the opposition's health. You want to have the fastest attack speed possible because it's going to increase his opportunities to get healing. You can also give him a Hunter Antlers as well. It's a pretty fun thing, but Moon Shard is ideal with him. The primary item of this build that makes this whole build work is the Desolator. Now, Desolator is hilarious because it's -5 armor. That doesn't sound that significant, but it is. It's incredibly significant because you got to see what it does in conjunction with everything else. -5 on Desolator, and then you have -9 on Heartless, and then you have -10 on Enthrall. Suddenly, you have so much negative armor. Your Vigilants are doing a ton of damage. Also, the fact that the Desolator is on a Vigilant unit means that everyone is going to focus fire the unit that is being targeted by Desolator. That means that you're going to be making maximum effect of that -5 armor and all the other armor reduction abilities, because when you focus fire with Vigilant, you're gaining the most damage possible, and Desolator is going to do work. Desolator makes this build possible. It is absolutely a mandatory pick. It is an absolutely incredible item with this build because you're always going to be getting the benefit of that -5 armor, -14 with Heartless, -24 with Enthrall. Guys, Desolator is unbelievable in this build, and that concludes this guide. Thank you so much for watching, and a very special thank you to all of my wonderful subscribers. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Take care, everyone, and have yourselves a wonderful day.